You know, after reading this book, I think it's one of the best in the series so far, especially when I find out that Lance Brody has a new ability. Just awesome. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'll be giving my spoiler-free review of Dark Vacancy by Michael Robertson Jr, the fourth book in the Lance Brody Supernatural Suspense series, published in 2019, and what a great entry in this series this book is. I absolutely loved it. Now, I'll start, as I always do, with what the book is about, taken straight from the cover copy. A freak blizzard, a roadside motel, a past that refuses to die. When the snowstorm arrives, the one that no weatherman had forecast, Lance Brody is walking along a desolate road in the middle of nowhere. On the brink of freezing, he finally stumbles across a small roadside motel. Thus starts the longest night of Lance Brody's life, one full of gruesome deaths, spirits and cryptic messages, whirlwind visions from the past, and the terror-inducing realization that the motel is refusing to let Lance leave until he's finished what it wants him to do. And at the heart of it all, there may lie some of the answers that Lance has been searching for his entire life. Okay, so Lance finds himself at this lonely motel, and he feels that the universe wants him to do something here because it will not let him leave. There's a physical barrier, or not a metaphysical barrier around the motel, so he can't go anywhere until he figures out what he needs to do. Now, what I like about this book is we witness Lance have an emerging new ability, namely time travel, but not in the hard science fiction sense. What I mean is he's able to project his soul back in time, and this is probably one of the more trickier plots, and it always is when time travel is involved, where you have to really stop and think about it, because Michael Robertson leaves clues scattered throughout the plot that you have to pay attention to, and I think that's really good to me as a reader, because it did challenge me and made me think. And when it comes to time travel in novels and stories, I am hooked, line and sinker. Now, we witness in this book events in the past. So what I like about this plot is it jumps from different time zones. Okay, so we have a plot that goes back, I think it's, don't quote me, it's about 30 years in the past, and Lance finds himself moving back and forward through time as all the events unfold with these people who die in this motel, and it's up to Lance to figure out who is behind the murders, and it's like the ultimate cold case that he has to solve. Now, I like how in the whole series Michael Robertson is building the promise of Lance not being as alone as he thinks he is in the world. Could it be that there are other people like him out there? And this book certainly hints at that, which is fantastic. With this book, I found that the dead victims were really interesting because he gives these victims backstory, so you get to spend a bit of time with these secondary characters, which is really interesting, and hasn't really been done before in the series, and you get a really good feel as to why these people came to the motel in the first place and what they did in their previous lives. And it's really smart and intricate how Michael reveals the murderer at the end, and I just found that Lance being able to project himself back in time was a very fresh take for the series, and it was just done really well. Now, there's one character in here called Mark Backstrom. He's one of the victims in the hotel, and he's haunted by his mother, and there's a little bit of backstory on how that came to be, and explored Mark's relationship with his mother in a fair bit of detail, and I found it really interesting. And as you know, I'm always on the lookout for brilliant little descriptions and similes, and I found a gem in this one, and I'm going to share that with you now, and I'm going to read it word for word, because when I read these, I always enjoy it. So here it is. And to make matters worse, the words were followed by his mother's deep, phlegm-filled laughter that always graduated into a coughing fit that made it sound like her lungs were filled with pebbles and bubble wrap, as if the act of her breathing at all was a miracle that should be studied by doctors at some major university. So instead of saying his mother had a gravelly voice, perfect example of how you can write a really good piece of exposition which doesn't bog you down, which gets to the point but gives you a really good graphic image in your head. And that takes a lot of skill for a writer to do that, trust me. So reading those little gems just makes the whole book enjoyable. And I was, not happy to see them, but I appreciated seeing a brief appearance of the Reverend and the Surfer Dude in a different timeline, which was really interesting, and how there was a brief interaction between Lance and the Surfer Dude and the Reverend, which was really, really smart. So I cannot fault this book for anything. I found it was very, very smart. It made me think. It reverberated with me for a little while, and was just amazing. And chapter 25, I think it was, will actually almost make you cry, because Lance has a scene with another certain character, which I'm not going to reveal here because I don't do spoilers on the channel, but just knowing that Lance isn't alone, and he was able to help this person who has similar abilities, or had similar abilities. It was just a really, really perfect ending. And if I didn't have so much on my plate to read and get out of the way, I would be binging books 5 and 6. And I think after recording this review and getting excited about it, I might just read the final 2 books sooner rather than later, because they don't take too long. They're not long books. Michael Robertson Jr has a really good way of using word economy, so not a word is wasted, guys. And if you have not read this series or picked it up, I suggest you do, especially since the ebook covers have actually been recently updated as well, which look absolutely amazing. If you go to Michael's Facebook page, he's put all the pictures up of the new covers, which the original covers were fine, but these ones are so next level, and I just love the color usage and the art. And he's also got a physical copy of the End House as well that's been reprinted recently as well. And yeah, can't recommend it enough. And once I finish books 5 and 6, I'll be able to have a sneaky peek at book 7 when he has it ready for his beta readers, because I am going to be one of those readers. So really, really excited. But if you have not read this series, I guarantee you are going to love it. So there you go. That is it for my spoiler-free review of Dark Vacancy. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Offer up any feedback in the comments below, and I'll always respond to those. And until the next video, guys, which shouldn't be too far away, I'll see you later.